Hello, welcome to the next session of basic surveying model number 3. In the previous session, we had discussed about the methods of booking and reducing the levels. So, how do you calculate elevations? There are basically two methods. The first one is height of instrument method and the second one is rise and fall method. Okay? So, I had explained you how to determine the elevation using those two methods with some formulas, right. So, now in this session, I will take up a simple problem wherein you will understand how to calculate the elevation of a required point or given object. Okay. So, we should start our leveling by considering a benchmark. It may be a temporary benchmark or it may be a permanent benchmark. Okay. So, by keeping the benchmark as a reference whose elevation is known, then we can easily calculate the elevation of required point. Okay. So, let this point be the benchmark whose elevation is known and let point A be the point or the object whose elevation has to be determined. Say we know the elevation of this benchmark as 100.000 meters. See, one more thing, you should write 3 digits after the decimal point when you record the readings. Okay. Please keep that in mind. Next. So, if we know the elevation of this point, how can we calculate height of instrument? That is by keeping a staff here and take a back side to it and record the staff reading. Okay. Fine. So, once you record the staff reading, you will be having the height of instrument. So, using this height of instrument, you can easily calculate the elevation of the next point. So, how can you calculate it? So, HI is equal to RL of benchmark or the first point plus the back side. So, whatever you record here will be back side. So, let us take the back side reading as 2.500. Okay. Next, let us calculate its HI, that is height of instrument, that is equal to, what is the RL of benchmark given? It is 100 plus back side. Why am I adding back side here? It is called as plus side also. Correct? Back side should always be added to the elevation of the first point, that is equal to 2.500. How much? That is 102.500. This is nothing but the height of the instrument in meters. Now, to calculate the elevation of next point, which is point A, that is equal to RL of A is equal to this height of instrument minus foresight in this case. So, whatever reading you take from this point to the staff kept at A is called as foresight, which is also the minus side. You have to deduct that value. If you have intermediate side in between, then you should subtract that from this HI. So, HI is known now. Okay. Let me take this foresight as 1.575 meters. Okay. Let the staff reading be 1.575 at A. So, using that foresight and this HI, we can easily calculate the elevation of point A, that is equal to 102.500 minus 1.575 is equal to 100.925 meters. So, this is how you calculate RL of given point. Okay. If you have intermediate site in between, how can you calculate RL? Same procedure has to be followed until you come to the last point. The last reading taken is always the foresight. intermediate station's reading should be recorded under intermediate sight, and the last reading should always be written under foresight. Okay. So, let me take one more example. So, here if you observe, the instrument is shifted to new point. Okay. So, let this be benchmark, let this be point A and point B. So, you know when to shift the instrument, I have explained this earlier. Okay. So, once you take back sight, next this sight is foresight. Now, when you reach point A and shift the instrument, you should not disturb this point. Okay. You should not take or remove the staff from this point. It should be kept at A, because we need some reference point when we shift the instrument. Without the reference point, we cannot move further. So, when you shift the instrument to a new point, say let this be C and the new position be D. So, when you shift the instrument from C to D, A will act as a reference point. Okay. Next, from D you should take one more reading to the previous point, and that reading is again called as back sight. So, at point A you need to take two readings, that is it denotes it is end of one station and starting point of another station. So, you need to take foresight as well as back sight. Foresight will be taken from point C, back sight will be taken from point D. And at B, when we arrive at B, you should keep a staff here, record its foresight. If you have some more points, the same procedure is repeated. Okay. So, this is how you calculate the elevations of the next points easily. I hope this is clear. And for the previous case taken, if you are asked to determine the difference in elevation between two points, that is difference in elevation between your benchmark and point A, how do you determine it? That is equal to, yes, what was the elevation of point A? That is 100.925 minus 100 is the elevation of benchmark or RL of benchmark. Now, if you take difference between these two, you are going to get 0.925 meters. That is, the difference between the benchmark to the point A is 0.925 meters. That means the benchmark was at lower level compared to the point A. Now, if you are asked to determine the difference in elevation between these 2 points, point A is 0.925 meters higher than the benchmark. Okay. This is how you determine difference in elevation between 2 points. Okay. Next, let me move on to types of leveling. First one, simple leveling. Yes, what is simple leveling? When the difference in levels of two nearby points is required, it is obtained by simple leveling. As I had shown in the previous case, I had taken 2 points, that is benchmark and point A, and if you need to determine the difference in elevation between the point A and the benchmark in the previous example considered, that difference in elevation is obtained by simple leveling. The points are so near that with one setting of the level, the readings on 2 points can be obtained, right? That is what I had done earlier in the previous case. Okay. So, that case is nothing but simple leveling. Okay. That is, in simple leveling, you have to set an instrument at a point take the staff reading at benchmark and calculate the height of instrument by recording its backside. Okay, then height of instrument is known by taking this height of instrument. Again record one more reading, which is foresight. Then the elevation of this point is easily determined. So if you observe in this case, you have set an instrument at a point and you have taken 2 readings, right? That is what simple leveling says. Okay. So what is next type of leveling? Second one, differential leveling. What is differential leveling? The operation of leveling to determine the elevation of points at quite distant points is called differential leveling. So if the 2 points are very near, then that type of leveling is called as simple leveling. But in differential leveling, if the distance between the points is quite far, okay, compared to simple leveling, then we adopt differential leveling. So differential leveling is the method of direct leveling, the object of which is solely to determine the difference in elevation of 2 points regardless of the horizontal position of the point with respect to each other. When the points are apart, it may be necessary to set up the instrument several times. This type of leveling is also known as fly leveling. This type of leveling is also known as fly leveling. So in differential leveling, say you are asked to determine the difference in elevation between point A and point B. So what you do? You will set an instrument at one point and taking the benchmark as reference, you will take a backside, right? The elevation of this benchmark is known. Then you will keep the staff at A and record its foresight reading, right? Next, you will shift the instrument to, say, let this point be C, shift the instrument new point D. Okay. Next, once you have shifted the instrument, you should not shift the staff before taking the backside. From this point, you should record a backside reading, then only shift the staff to a new point, say E. So by keeping the staff at E, record foresight. Next, the staff should be kept at E only. You should not stop from E. Next, you have to shift the instrument to a new point, say F. Now again record backside to the same point previously kept. Then keep staff at the last point, which is B, and record its foresight. Got it? Calculate the elevations of all the points. So this type of leveling is called as differential leveling or also fly leveling. So to determine difference in elevation between point A and point B, we are shifting instruments number of times. This process is called as fly leveling. So what if you come back from B towards A again? So now from B again we will come back at A only to check the accuracy of the obtained elevation. Okay. So if we start from B and end at A, that type of leveling is called as fly back leveling. This is called as fly leveling. If we come back to point A, it is called as fly back leveling. Okay. I hope this is clear. And now let me move on to the next type of leveling, that is profile leveling. Profile leveling. So what is meant by profile leveling? Why it is done? It is done in order to obtain a profile of the surface along a line, the objective of which is to determine the elevation of points of measured intervals along a line. Okay, so what is profile leveling? It is a method of direct leveling the object, of which is to determine the elevation of points at measured intervals along a given line in order to obtain a profile of the surface along the line. So, in simple words, let us assume this is a railway line. Okay. Now, we want to know its profile, that is, to study the profile of a given surface or required surface, we adopt profile leveling. That is, we are going to take staff readings at regular intervals. Okay. We are going to take the staff readings at regular intervals. So, each interval will be of same distance. So, if this distance is 5 meters, so it will be 5 meters throughout. Okay. This is what? This is nothing but profile leveling. This is also called as longitudinal sectioning. To know the profile of the surface, we adopt profile leveling. Okay. So, in this case, what we need to keep in mind is we should fix a line previously whose profile is to be known. So, what is profile leveling, or it is also called as longitudinal sectioning? That is, it is the process of determining the elevation of points at short measured intervals along a fixed line, such as the center line, railway, highway, canal or a sewer. So, this line will be acting as a center line. The fixed line may be a single straight line, or it may be composed of a succession of straight lines as shown in this figure, or of a series of straight lines connected by curves. Okay. So, this is known as longitudinal sectioning. So, now this is a fixed line, and at each regular intervals you are going to record the staff readings and the elevations are determined. This will be the center line of aligning a highway, roadway, canal or a sewer. Okay. So, I hope you have understood what is profile leveling. Now, let me move on to next type of leveling, that is cross sectioning. Profile leveling, also known as longitudinal sectioning, we can write it as LS, whereas cross sectioning can write it as CS. So, what is cross sectioning? It is the process of taking levels on each side of a main line at right angles to that line in order to determine the vertical cross section of a surface of the ground. So, if you consider this line, which is main line, you have to take level on each side of this fixed line at right angles. So, that is, if you consider this line, and this side I can call it as left, and this side I can call it as right, left of this line, right of this line. So, you have to take levels on both left side and right side of a fixed main line. Okay. When you take levels at right angles, so now this is left, this is right. Again I can take at regular intervals. I can take staff readings at regular intervals. This also gives us the profile at right angles to the main line. I hope you have understood cross sectioning. So, let me repeat, what is cross sectioning? Cross sectioning or cross leveling is the process of taking levels on each side of a main line at right angles to that line in order to determine a vertical cross section of the surface of the ground or of underlying strata or of both. Okay. Now, let me go to the next type of leveling, reciprocal leveling. Reciprocal leveling. What is reciprocal leveling? It is the method of leveling in which difference in elevation between 2 points is accurately determined by 2 steps of reciprocal observation when it is not possible to set up the level between 2 points. Okay, let me give you an example. If leveling across obstacle river is required, then we can adopt reciprocal leveling. So, when you are having an obstacle like river and then you are asked to determine differential elevation between either sides of the river bank, then you have to adopt reciprocal leveling. Okay. Let me explain you reciprocal leveling in detail, because we will be dealing with numerical problems on it also, okay, which will be asked in the examination, and it is very important. When it is necessary to carry leveling across a river or any obstacle requiring a long sight between 2 points so situated that no place for the level can be found, from which the lengths of foresight and backside will be even approximately equal. This special method, that is reciprocal leveling, must be used to obtain accuracy and to eliminate error in instrument adjustment, combined effect of Earth's curvature and refraction of the atmosphere and variations in the average refraction. So, this reciprocal leveling is used to eliminate error in instrument adjustment, combined effect of Earth's curvature and refraction of the atmosphere, and variations in the average refractions. So, these are eliminated using reciprocal leveling. Now, let me draw some figures and explain the concept of reciprocal leveling and know how reciprocal leveling is done. Now, taking this figure as reference, let me explain you what is reciprocal leveling. When is reciprocal leveling adopted? When there is an obstacle like river, then we adopt reciprocal leveling. So, let this point A be on one side of the river bank and point B be on the other side of the river bank. Next, we have to set instrument near a point A and we have to take staff reading at A, then take a staff reading at B. Next step is shift the instrument from A to B, and next take staff reading near B, take staff reading at B, and also take staff reading at A. So, if you observe, the distance between A and B is very long. So, this line what I have written in orange color is horizontal line, whereas the line drawn in blue line is nothing but the line of sight, which is the line of sight, okay, and this green line is nothing but the level line. Now, let A and B be the points and observations be made with a level, the line of sight of which is inclined. As you can see in the figure, the line of sight is inclined upwards when the bubble is in the center of its run. The level is set at a point near A and the staff readings are taken at A and B. Since benchmark A is very near to the instrument, no error due to curvature, refraction and collimation will be introduced in the staff readings at A, but there will be an error E in the staff reading on B, as you can see in the diagram. Now the level is shifted from A to a point near B, that is nothing but the other bank, on a point very near benchmark B, and the readings are taken on staff held at B and A, as you can see in this figure. Since B is very near to the instrument, there will be no error due to three factors in reading the staff, but the staff readings at A, but the staff readings on A will have an error E as shown. Now let H A and H B be the staff readings at A and B when the instrument is set at A. Okay. Next, let H A dash and H B dash be the staff readings when the instrument is set near point B. So this is H B dash, this is H A dash. Now to determine E, so these are taken when the instrument was set near A. These are the staff readings when the instrument was set near point B. Okay. So when the staff is on A, the correct staff reading is nothing but HA. The correct staff reading is HA. When the staff is on B, on point B, the correct staff reading should have been HB minus E. But the staff reading taken at B is HB, but the correct staff reading by considering the error is HB minus E. So therefore, if I calculate capital H difference in elevation between point A and point B, I will get HA minus HB minus E. So this is difference in elevation between A and B, or true difference in elevation between A and B. This is first set. Similarly, second set. Now second set, the correct staff reading will be on A, it is HA dash minus E, and on B it is HB dash. Am I right? So if I take true difference in elevation between these 2 points, I will get HA dash minus E minus HB dash. Okay. So I can write this equation as number 1 and this equation as number 2. Now taking the average of the true differences in elevations, we get 2H is equal to, that is add both the equations, you will get HA minus HB minus E plus HA dash minus E minus HB dash, right. Now if you remove the brackets and rearrange the terms, you will get so plus E and minus E gets cancelled. Two H is equal to HA minus HB plus HA dash minus HB dash, right. Or I can write 1 by 2 into HA minus HB plus HA dash minus HB dash. Okay. So this is the value of H. By taking this formula, we are going to determine true difference in level between 2 points when you solve some numericals on reciprocal leveling. Okay. I hope you have understood what is reciprocal leveling now. We'll move on to the next topic, that is sensitiveness of bubble tube. What is sensitiveness of bubble tube? Level tube is partially filled with liquid and sealed. It has shape of part of a circular arc. Sensitiveness of a bubble tube is defined as angular rotation of bubble tube to move bubble by one division. Bubble tube is said to be more sensitive if the bubble moves by more divisions for a given change in the angle. Next, how the sensitivity of a bubble tube is increased? It can be increased by increasing the length of the tube, increasing the diameter, decreasing the viscosity of the liquid, and decreasing the roughness of internal wall of bubble tube. Okay. So, what is sensitivity? Sensitivity of a bubble tube is defined as the angular value of one division of the bubble tube. Okay. Generally, the linear value of one division is kept as 2 mm. Next, how can you increase the sensitivity of bubble tube? It can be increased by increasing the length of the tube, can be increased by increasing the diameter, by decreasing the viscosity of the liquid, and by decreasing the roughness of internal wall of the bubble tube. Okay. So, how can you determine the sensitivity? Sensitivity can be determined by using two methods. The sensitivity of the bubble tube can be determined by two methods that I am going to explain now. First method, n be the number of divisions of the bubble tube. L be the length of each division. S is the difference between two staff readings and this D be distance from A to C. Distance between A to C. Okay. So, if you observe, I think you can understand that this is a staff. So, what is the procedure? First step, set the instrument at O, level it accurately. Next, sight a staff kept at C from point O at a distance D. Next, using foot screws, deviate the bubble over n number of divisions. Second step is sight a staff kept at C at a distance D from point O let the staff reading be CF. Let the staff reading be CF. Next, using a foot screw, deviate the bubble over n number of divisions and again cite the staff. Let that staff reading be CE. Let that staff reading be CE. Now, find the difference between those two staff readings. Thus, this S can be determined by CE minus CF. This S is obtained by CE minus CF. Next, now from figure we can say S is equal to CF minus CE, and from triangle BEF tan alpha, I can write approximately equal to alpha because the angle alpha is very small, so you can neglect tan. That is equal to, what is tan? Trigonometry function tan, opposite by adjacent. So opposite of alpha is S, adjacent is D. That is equal to S by D. Let this be equation number 1. Similarly, from triangle AOB, alpha is equal to AB divided by R. Strictly speaking, this part is not straight. This is actually a bit curved. Okay. Fine. So from this triangle, alpha is equal to AB by R, where R is the radius of curvature of the bubble tube. So what is AB? This is not F, this is L, NL. Okay. So what is AB from the figure? AB is nothing but NL divided by R, where N is what? Number of divisions and L is length of one division on the bubble. So alpha is equal to, I can write NL divided by R, equation number 2. So now you can observe 1 and 2. So from 1 and 2 we can equate 1 and 2. Equate 1 and 2, we get S by D is equal to NL by R, or that is NLD divided by S, NLD by S. So let this be equation number 3. So from equation 2, what is alpha? Alpha is equal to NL by R, right? NL by R is nothing but alpha. So let us take alpha dash, which is nothing but, let this alpha dash be the sensitivity of bubble tube, which is angular value of one division NL by R, and if I take the number of divisions as 1, where N is equal to 1, I can write alpha dash is equal to L by R. Okay. Let this be equation number 4. But from equation number 3, we have R is equal to NLD by S. So we know R is equal to NLD by S. Substitute that in equation number 4. So from 3, we will get alpha dash is equal to L divided by alpha dash is equal to L divided by, what is the value of R? NLD divided by S. L and L cancel, this S goes this side. So alpha dash is equal to S by ND. This is how you determine sensitivity of bubble tube. So if I write this in seconds, I should multiply this by, so if I write this in terms of seconds, I should multiply this value by 206265 seconds, or I can write alpha dash is equal to S by ND sin 1 seconds This is how you determine sensitivity of bubble tube. That is one of the method. This is first method. We can also determine the same sensitivity by using one more method. Now let me explain the second method. See, in the examination you will be asked to explain sensitivity of bubble tube. So you should explain what is sensitivity, how you can increase the sensitivity, and how you can determine the sensitivity. Second method. The first step is set the instrument at O and level it accurately, and next keep a staff at C. Now move the bubble to extreme left division. Read both ends of the bubble, which is nothing but CE. Now move the bubble to extreme right division. Read both ends of the bubble, which is nothing but CF. First move to the extreme left, next move to the extreme right. To the left it will be CE and to the right it will be CF. So again the staff reading will be CE minus CF, which is equal to S. Let A and B represent the centers of the bubble in two positions. So the net travel of the bubble will be, first let this L1 be reading on left end of bubble, and this R1 be reading on right end of bubble. So these are one set of readings when you move the bubble to the left, extreme left division. Similarly, when you move to the extreme right division, same reading should be taken as L2 and R2. Okay. So this is with respect to left, this is with respect to, again this is left end, so this is the right end. So now the net travel of the bubble is obtained by N is equal to L1 minus R1 minus L2 minus R2 divided by 2 divisions. Okay. Next, considering similar triangles from this figure, that is triangle GEF and triangle ABO. Similar to the previous method, we can now easily write what is R, what is alpha. From similar triangles GEF and triangle ABO, we get R is equal to NLD by S, alpha is equal to S by D is equal to NL by R, and sensitivity is given by L by R, radiance which is equal to S by ND sine 1 second. So this is how you determine the sensitivity of bubble tube using second method. Okay. I hope you have understood this.